Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 3 with Black Ice 9.11, and of course we're playing as Germany this time. Yay, of course. Not always, but this time we're playing it as Germany. So let's continue this. And we just started a trade agreement with the Soviets. Waited till we got down to about 80,000 actually. Before we started, so we're gonna do a little bit more of that. But we also, I noticed in between episodes here, the 1st Infantry SS Infantry Unit, which actually was developed second. But there we go. These guys are fighting us to fight, but they're about ready to crush that Guards Brigade and that group. Ah, Turkey. Yeah, sure you can, Turkey. Okay, medium bomber prototypes. Oh, well now that thing's firing again. Well, okay, whatever. Don't know how that's fired. Like I said, I looked before in the previous episode. Obviously, it'll just give us land that we already have. No big deal. So I could have waited, obviously, but I didn't know. Couldn't find it. What triggered it. So I still don't know what triggered it, but okay, we want that. That would have happened if you're more patient than I am. You'll get that. Okay, previously we had the Gewehr 41M. This is the Gewehr 41W. The Walter Gewehr 41, also known as the G.41M. Oh, no, that's a typo. G41W. That's my typo, but it's yeah. Okay, should be corrected. Probably said that in the last playthrough, but forgot to do it. Was developed to fulfill the requirements of the new semi-auto rifle issued by the Heereswaffenamt. These requirements had some specific points that severely impacted the performance of the firearm. Among other were requested the rifle should have no moving or no gas ports, and went over all this really before, and the gun should work as manual. Interestingly enough, however, the Walter engineers ignored parts of these requirements. In particular, they used a reciprocating bolt handle, this thing here, that moves when the gun is fired, and a partially uncovered bolt group. Again, all that moves when it's fired, and not just opens and closes and it's open. In the spring of 41, the Walter factory received an official contract for 5,000. And here we get it right, the 41G or G41Ws rifles for field trials. Again, put them out there, see how the soldiers liked them. Again, it has this extra sort of gas trap thing on the outside of the barrel to get the gas to make it work. Very different, or a different setup internally from the Mauser, because it doesn't have that silly bolt on the end of it. So this is obviously a better, more modern thing that the Walter people just decided, yep, we're going to do it this way, whatever you say, and we're going to support development there. Okay, Voscher. This is a German clothing company that also made badges and other things during the war, but found this little advertising card here for them, put in a store. German womanhood need proper clothing to keep their appearance in good order and impress foreigners with the glory of the Reich. A little war can't get in the way of necessary things for women. So sort of show off that little thing, I made this event. You can increase the popularity and cost 5,500 supplies, basically diverting a certain amount of manufacturing away from Nazi uniforms and other military needs, or nope, and lose one popularity. So this is a gain, this is a loss, and this cost. We can afford it. That's why I definitely stress lots of supplies. Okay, German police forces for Barbarossa. Yes, please, even though we're getting them early. Control our new lands. Rear Army. Okay, this I guess is some of the Barbarossa type things. And there we go. Okay. Raise more flak units for protection of industrial centers. The Luftwaffe lacked an effective air defense system early in the war. Very true. Allied daylight actions over German-controlled territory were sparse in the 39-40. The responsibility of the defense of the German airspace fell to the Luftgau commandos, Luft air districts. I presume they're the same district, same Gaus as the Gauleiters. The defense system relied mostly on anti-aircraft artillery. The defenses were not coordinated and communication was poor. Lack of understanding between the flak and the flying branches would plague the Reich Luftverteidigung, Reich air defenses, throughout the war. Adolf Hitler in particular wanted the defenses to rest on anti-aircraft artillery as it gave the civilian population a psychological crutch, no matter how ineffective weapons. Nevertheless, a large share of German armament effort was invested into anti-aircraft artillery installation. Okay, raise more flak units to protect industrial areas. Oh, okay. Or no. Okay, let's take a look at this. Okay, Königsberg, Kiel, Hamburg, Dusseldorf, Berlin, Dresden. Okay. And gets German flak protection until July 41. Okay, for April. Okay, a few months there. 7.5%. That's a big percent there, revolverheld. I know it's a bunch of guns, but it's a big percent. Notice there's also Bern now. Bern's in Switzerland. Is that adding Bern because it's... this could be... Don't worry about the lose because it will have it would have a -1 if it was actually a -1. Wonder if they looked at that. Okay. It could just be industrial centers over a certain amount. Get it? I don't know. Because generally speaking, for the AI, if there's 3 or more, the AI will note it at some point, whether they have to attack it or not, I don't know. But stop attacking. We'll take this. I've just been watching, and there's some nasty events coming. I don't know if that will affect. Yeah, we'll take this. See, hopefully get a good HQ or even 2 out of it. No, still not there. The monthly outbreak. Faster. Oh, you're already fighting. And you're fighting. And you're fighting. You're good enough to go up and attack that. And then onward to there. Oh, major victory. Barsud. Okay. You come up and take out. Cairo. You're going there. You go there. You advance into there. Okay, women in the RAD. The Reich Arbeitsdienst carried out many functions that support the war effort. At the front and at home, we can increase the number of women in the RAD and their work areas. These will free men up to fight in the Wehrmacht, the armed forces. Yep. Obviously, various photos of women, of in rad uniforms out there. Don't know if you sort of get a little bit of the joke here. That's a woman in a man's jacket, and that's a man in a woman's skirt with the woman's brooch style there. Rad uniforms, yes, but you can see the brooch there. Earlier on, pre-war, the rad was definitely not obligatory for, not required for women. That it changes more as time goes on. You didn't have to go into the rad, but they wanted you to do something. Something could have just been simply have children. And that so, but we can gain officers and manpower. Sure, we'll take that. Okay, visit of the Japanese Foreign Minister Matsukoa. During March 41, the Japanese Foreign Minister Matsukoa visited Moscow and Berlin. Matsukoa was a major advocate of Japanese alliance with Germany and Fascist Italy, whose assistance he saw as the perfect balancing force against the United States, and as such was one of the primary orchestrators of the Tripartite Pact. In 1940, in March 29, 1941, at a conversation with the German Minister of Foreign Affairs, Joachim von Ribbentrop was instructed not to tell the Japanese anything about the upcoming Operation Barbarossa. The Japanese be kept in the dark about Germany's plans. Ribbentrop tried to convince Matsukoa to urge the government in Tokyo to attack Singapore, claiming that the British Navy was too weak to retaliate due to involvement in the Battle of the Atlantic. Matsukoa responded to this by stating preparations to occupy Singapore were underway. Okay, welcome to Berlin. So they lose one, Japan loses one dissent, improves our relations, hurts relations with the U.S. and Japan's relations with the U.S. and United Kingdom. Okay, good. Either Matsuko or one of the later ambassadors that was here was of the greatest help to the Allies, and maybe even to the Soviets. He helped them incredibly a lot. It was one of the biggest helps of the war. He didn't know he was helping, because he would, because notice this says that they kept Japan in the dark about the attack on the Soviet Union. Well, the ambassador, would make or the Germans, especially wanted to keep their allies, how great we're doing. And so they would feed them a lot of information about the war effort and what's going on. And especially once, the plans, including the plan for the Battle of Kursk. So he would fill out all this information and radio it to Japan. Well, the U.S. had the Japanese codes broken, so that we knew what the Japanese were told. Doesn't necessarily mean it's what is correct, but we knew what the Japanese were being told by the Germans. So they really helped us out. Change your codes, people. Okay, organize the air defense of the Reich. The failure of the Luftwaffe to protect Berlin from a series of small-scale raids made by the RAF Bomber Command during the Battle of Britain led to the construction of more solid air defense programs. Vice Marshal Hermann Goering ordered General Lieutenant Herbert Weiss, who had command. Okay, supplies no problem, manpower no problem, officers no problem. Luftwaffe reorganization. Okay, hopefully this isn't completely everything. This is still an instruct. Okay, what was this? I hope we're not. Okay, now. Okay, this is just, I guess, middle here. Yeah, okay. Oh, this is fine. Okay, good. We will attach him to upload. 5. Okay, Flieger Führer Africa. Hopefully this won't be repeating like it did last time. But we will see. So we now have a Flieger Führer Africa. And it very well may end up being used at some point for actual command if I want to move it down here. British embargo on Bulgaria. Our embassy in Sofia reports that after Bulgaria allowed German troops to enter the country, the British imposed a trade embargo. In addition, the British ambassador was withdrawn from Sofia. Interesting. Okay, their relations are getting worse. They're still not at war in our game here, but they are in the Axis. See, what constitutes being a member of the Axis? That's something that to me is a bit nebulous. Obviously, we have game terms, you know, you're in the Axis. But is it being a signer of the Pact of Steel between Germany and Italy? Is it joining the Anti-Comintern Pact, you know, that started out between Japan and Germany? What is being in the Axis? Or is it fully the Tripartite Pact? Well, I sort of take it as something, you know, you can be in the Axis and be at war and not have signed, you know, decide to keep Japan out of the thing. I mean, you know, Japan isn't a like super requirement for having other nations in the Axis. So that's something of a they're almost there. Decline. Okay, improve or medium anti-aircraft guns. Advanced on ships. It's under cruisers, I believe. Okay, yeah, stop that. Okay, Von Thoma, you come up this way. Okay, Schreckenberg, you retreat. You're gonna shatter if you stay there. But you keep fighting. Outbreak of partisan desert, whatever. Okay. We need more supplies. We just generally need more supplies. So let's do a significant amount more. We'll lock that down. And Spain, give them supplies for money. Good. We need more money to buy more rare materials from the Soviets. Okay, medicine has advanced. Very good. We should be already doing these, but let's do that now. And what else? Motorized support units. Increase to 3. That is here. Stop that. That should be getting supplies now down to here. Are they getting supplies now, guys? No, not yet. They got 2 ports. They still got Mogadishu down here. And whatever this is up here. Assab. We may have to take that province. Okay. Get the supplies flowing. The spice must flow, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah. You see that there's some partisans and you're sending how many divisions away from the Soviets? Frontier? Okay, mass assault. That's nice. Isn't that special? Okay, yeah, we'll let that improve. Supply production, we'll do that. That'll help the supply production. There we go. Like they're heading down that way, so that means we probably got... Ah, yes, and the big spawn. I think we triggered this here. Because you see all these units, they don't have any... Don't know what... There maybe, or here? Not sure. Okay, well, if the Italians can make it through with ships, they can make it through with supplies. Good. We will send these guys here. You go across those rivers, just yeah, now you've got some backup there. Costa Rica, yes, we'll send you supplies. Now you should be getting your fleets out, guys. You lost Suez. Don't think you're thinking you're going to get it back. Maybe you are, but I doubt it. And now that we sort of see that this isn't so super defended, and yeah, that looks good. Put that on. And these Australians, they're a good unit. Let's put them on board. And Yep, we're going to go straight to here. Rebase. I'm presuming we will correct it. Well, yep, they are flowing supplies at least into here. Good enough. It's a pretty big base. That's a fairly small base. So we can handle the greater number of forces that are supply heavy use, like armored units. Looks like we've won there. Or winning there, or won there, yeah. Good, good, good. These are spawn units, of course. But they all just show up. We're below 800. All these damn things. Yeah, just a little feedback, revolver held. I just want to say priority new units. Yeah, I know I picked that, but 5%. Okay. A bit much. German flak production, 7.5%. I think that's big. I think that's a little too big for what it is. Now, maybe there's... Again, I haven't looked at all your code. And we may see... there may be other things that are coming already, you know, that's paying for. But that seemed like a lot for those guns, 7.5%. Because, you know, what's the, you know, well, I guess you can sort of kind of look at mine in your games to see how many that is, but that seems an awful lot of ICs for, you know, of actual ICs. The African campaign, I agree with, 2.5%, that seems right. The pre-war railway levels, well, that's black ice, of course. Building tank factories, that's black ice, the yearly thing. Strategic bombing of England, yeah, okay. I could have chose not to do that. Atlantic strategy, yeah, I could have chose not to do that, 2.5. But still keep all that in mind. Give them cake, medium fleet, 2.5. We're going to take a smaller fleet or nothing next time because we can build our own small boats. So yeah, I'm just looking at all this propaganda press. Totalitarian system, Reichsfuhrer SS. CI for the Reichsfuhrer SS is only 1% for all of those SS activities. Not all of them are necessarily super evil, kill everybody activity. Some of them are. Some of them are just, hey, we like Alaric porcelain and other, let's build, you know, SS holiday camps and other sorts of things too. But now, have there been enough time for us to, yes, okay. Now that the Soviet Union is getting more money, let's see if we can sell them some more supplies. And will give us money to pay for the resources we are doing. Oh, and we also have mech level. Yep, we'll take this. Good. Okay, recon unit, combined arms. Yeah, we're going to stop the 42 ones here. Get through the 40 ones on the recon. Amphibious invasion focus, that will be really useful. Takes a long time to get, but be useful. Definitely wanted to get some of these things like mixed support for my airborne divisions. That'll be really useful as well. I'm not suggesting, and whether this is... Now, some of you are sort of wondering why I'm talking to revolver held so much. Well, I'm a mod maker. I know you know that. But you don't know how important feedback is for us. And I love all you guys have said how great TRE is. And that's really nice. It's helpful emotionally. And it's good to know that I'm doing a good job. You know, just that it is a good job. You know, that you're satisfied with it. But as you may have noticed if you've watched me a lot here, sometimes I go, oh, I've just found a bug that I didn't know wasn't firing, and it was something from like in the last series playthrough, and I was looking through things, I found something that was in the has been in there since. So we're gonna let you reorganize a little bit more. Since like the initial release of it, and I just something that just got overlooked by me. And now how do you know it's something not firing? Well, you don't know it's not firing, but if you report sort of what is firing, at least we know, oh, this is good and why. And this is why I'm giving a lot of feedback on some of these percentages of things. And I'm not saying they're wrong percentages. I'm just saying they seem high from my perspective. He may be looking like revolverheld is reading some very detailed books on the German war effort, similar to some of the stuff that was published by the U.S. War College from the U.S. perspective. That's sort of like the daily diary of what's going on in the war. And so he's looking at that and getting real world feedback on things, and then trying to assess its industrial cost kind of things. And I'm not reading those books, so I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm saying it seems high for what you're getting in games terms. He may be looking again what it was historically. He may also be looking at, well, because you have this, you're also doing you're also getting other things. So there may be very well other considerations. So, but I'm giving feedback, and so it's that kind of feedback that I know I've wished for. Here, Organization Tote, that is from here, Fritz Tote, 5% ICs. Do you guys think that that's too high or too low for Tote? Because he was armaments minister, and that's he was a reasonably good one. But it's also Organization Tote is why you get the construction practical delayed, because that's primarily a construction organization, but it's also sort of helping expand resources. So these are what you're getting here. Are these good values to you? Because quite honestly, these are wild ass guesses of mine. And he should be, more than I've learned him, he should be more of a Nazi. He should be a NSDAP member, because he was a SA man way back. Not so much a fascist, an SA man, so he should be brown. Where I agree with paternal autocrat, probably Brauhitsch. Yeah, I don't know whether he was more of a fascist or a paternal autocrat. Generally, I put most of the traditional German generals as paternal autocrats, but that's just my view of them, and as a general class, not as individuals, because a few like Model and a few others, Reichenau particularly, he would be a Nazi, a National Socialist, very much so. So, so a bunch of these things that I'm putting in here, some of these I'm taking from what was already here. I don't know if I changed much on Hess at all, or more than just simply changing the, Deputy Party Führer, the Third Reich kind of thing. But some of these guys, National Manpower and stuff that I have sort of given different. Some of them I've given. Some of these are I'm responsible for the name only. Some of them I have added here, like here, resources. I think I'm the one that added this. I'm not sure right off the bat. But because he, Goering is there's still Reichswehr Hermann Goering. That's no longer the main armaments. He's sort of pushed aside as the main armaments guy, but Reichswehr Hermann Goering is still going on. So long as he is still powerful enough to hold a cabinet post, if you will, and he currently Air Force, so he's still giving that influence. If you demote him out of all capabilities here, then Reichswehr Hermann Goering effect is less effective, so you lose the 5% in resources. That's why I've done this. Now, is that 5% resources, Reichswehr Hermann Goering, was, at least in its starting days, very heavily focused on increasing resources, though it also increased This is ICs. Should it, you know, so these are wild ass guesses. You know, my impact on these, and since I've done stuff to these, and some of the stuff I'm inheriting from what it was either in Hearts of Iron or what Black Ice was doing from them at the time that I went in and created them, and they may have changed over time and are no longer these values. But so if you have feedback on whether it's history or just simply gameplay effect you think is too big, too little, now tell me why you think 5% on ICs is too big or too little or something like that. I'd love that kind of feedback. And so that's sort of what I'm giving revolverheld with all these things. It's just my feedback. Doesn't mean that he's wrong. That naval basing, that would be here. No, yeah, here. Okay. So we'll do installation security. So that's what I'm giving because I am a mod maker. Not that I know it better than you, whoever you are watching. It just, these are the kind of feedbacks I would want on my mod. Okay, Operation Logie update, light damage of Britain. Okay, Cafe Rene. We've seen this before in the last series, but I think I fixed all the bugs. I hope I did. And that is sort of why I'm playing this again, to see beyond the hope. Rene Atois is the owner of Cafe Rene in the village of Neuvillon. In the occupied France, Cafe Rene is the most popular establishment in the village and the hub of village life, and that's Neuvillon is in Boulogne area. That's why we have the different image there. And I like it, and I want to show it off, but it's just partially, it's a test. I'm testing this stuff. Okay, some Jaeger divisions and all that. So that looks like we've gotten through a bunch of production, and we're back to producing those two battleships, which these two battleships for me are, well, almost to producing them, are purely sort of post-Soviet, defeat production. I'm not going to waste any ICs on them, but just for sort of historical, whatever, keep them there. Or they're going to be very soon back in production. So, but we don't want that. Okay. Got Jaeger divisions, a couple Panzer divisions there. Trying to think. We've got I like flying boats and naval bombers. We've got some of those, but we're going to want more soon, but not just those. These are going to the Sturmabteilung, Sturmgewehr. No, not Sturmgewehr. Boy, that's assault rifle. Stug Abteilungs. That's another fast Panzer division for the Russian invasion. Reinforced infantry divisions. Heavy transports. Those heavy transports are life givers on the Soviet invasion, so let's do 2 of those. I'll keep the practicals going, rocking with that. Well, I get so trained not to build these by more recent versions of this. I need to build these. They're fast builders, they cost a bit, but we want to do that. And let's also build coastal submarines. Are still very useful. We'll build 2 of those. And we're getting out of the Mediterranean, but we can move them out around the African coast in places too. Long-range submarines are great, but we're still upgrading the last sort of batch of those. These guys' practicals are way down, even below regular submarines. But notice their ICs are down. But notice it's going to be a lot longer than the 160 days. So they're still going to cost more ultimately, but let's get them into the queue at least. And obviously these guys will go to the bottom. And so they'll be in the queue to get some building. So we keep building some submarines. 6 flotilla of 3 there. Okay, good. Okay, let's continue this. Okay, these guys made it good. Let's see if we can find a closer HQ for you. Panzer Corps, good. We need to come closer, and let's find an HQ. Aegis African Corps. That's good. Move forward. Oh good, they got a good German commander. He's now level 4. Okay, these guys. Yeah, let's support that attack. Oh, there's no need to support the attack there, so let's support this attack there. And let's also, what are we doing with Iran? Okay, they're already, I think we're already influencing them. I know they're either influencing themselves or we're influencing them, either way. That's good. Invite to faction. Ooh, they're getting close. I'd like them in before the war with the Soviets. Okay, we lost a province, uprising, okay. No big deal. We've got a lot of these guys. We've got a lot of guys, even an SS infantry brigade. Okay. USS Niblak incident on 11th April 1941 while picking up survivors from a Dutch merchant sailor, settler, I guess that's the name of this thing, of the ship. The USS destroyer USS Niblak under Lieutenant Commander Edward R. Dugan, picked up a sonar contact and attacked it with 3 depth charges. This action is often mentioned as the first military action between Germany and the USA in the Second World War, but no U-boat reported being under attack that day in that area. Also, the contact was probably, false. Yep, agree that it's probably false. Don't know where this incident happened. That would be an interesting bit of information. Good, you're out here operating. We getting any sinkings? Yes. If I totally agree, even if you're a neutral power, like the U.S. is currently, if you're, operating, with Germany willing to and stating that they're going to sink ships going in and out of this area. So, which could be U.S. ships going to, Ireland. I sort of go, okay, well, you can sink subs that are coming, too close to the Atlantic shelf here, or, the Atlantic coast of the North America, including what is, in the war territory of, well, this is actually Britain here, or Canada. So, you can be neutral, but go, hey, stay out of, because obviously there had been a sub. So that is a belligerent act, but not one that I am, I think is still a responsible neutral nation can do. Sort of like the Norwegians maybe dealing with German or British vessels coming, if not necessarily just within the whatever 12-mile limit, depending on what nation you are, and where you're drawing the, borders from, you know, out from here or wherever, and if there's hollows, just going and saying, hey, you know, you stay out of our zone or we're going to attack you, kind of thing. I think that's an acceptable thing for a neutral nation to do, and say, you know, probably a false contact. One thought to be a false contact for many, many, many years was during Pearl Harbor. The first action that the U.S. took was as a, oh man, I forget the destroyer's name, spotted a conning tower out just outside of Pearl Harbor, you know, the harbor, you know, there, out there, and well within U.S. territorial waters, and attacked it with guns. It spotted it, and it was coming out there, and the U.S. dismissed it as being false target. Nope. They just spotted, and they radioed it, and everybody in Pearl Harbor, you're just being jumpy. This was before the attack, meaning they could have, at the time that this happened, they probably could have gotten the battleships out to sea on an emergency sortie had they paid attention to this contact. Now, fast forward many years later, I think in the 90s, they found the Japanese midget submarine with a hole in it from one of the shore guns, or, you know, main gun. Just starting to look at that. I think that's the wrong. I don't know what the Niblik is, but I think that's a later. I don't know. I don't know enough about that. Not sure. What? I think, well, 41 maybe they were making this. I remember the class of that destroyer. Okay. You're up here. I keep forgetting about these guys. I send them up here to, like, get around. The British Isles. Oh, just move order. Just go up there. Because if you just send them, they'll, you know, send them past Britain or something. Did I ever get these guys out here? No. Oh, God, no. Oh, these are the German flotillas. Okay. That they went in for repair reorganization or something. I don't know. Too far out. Okay. Passive. Good. No leader. Okay. These are the Italians. Oh, these are Italians, so there's no leader. Okay, let's stick you out. Convoy greeting. Passive. Not really passive in the true sense, but passive in that they're not aggressive. Take enough disruption, damage, whatever, they'll come back to port to repair, re-equip, reorganize. Okay, yeah, you fight there. Push on that. Okay, mobile unit command and control has advanced. Good. Good. Here we go. Long-range aircraft and short-range aircraft. Well, let's start with short-range aircraft. Yeah, probably should have started with long, but they'll be happening. Okay. Japanese-Soviet Non-Aggression Pact signed. The Japanese-Soviet Non-Aggression Pact signed on April 13, 1941, 2 years after the brief Soviet-Japanese border war. After the fall of France and the subsequent expansion of Axis powers, the Soviet Union wished to mend its diplomatic relations in the Far East, in order to safeguard its eastern border and concentrate on the European theater of war. On the other hand, Japan bogged down in a seemingly interminable war with China, with diplomatic relations with the United States rapidly deteriorating. sought an accommodation with the Soviet Union that would improve its international standing and secure its northern frontier with Manchukuo against possible Soviet invasion. Later in 1941, Japan, as a signatory of the Tripartite Pact, considered denouncing the Soviet-Japanese Neutrality Pact, especially after Germany invaded the Soviet Union, but made the critical decision to keep it and expand southwards, invading the European colonies in Southeast Asia. Instead, historians after the war found evidence that had Stalingrad fallen, Japan would have invaded Siberia. See, this is, I like the photo, good photo. I hadn't heard that specifically about Stalingrad, if it had fallen. I definitely see if Moscow's fallen, Leningrad's fallen, Stalingrad's fallen, which obviously none of those three happened in the war, but had those fallen, and maybe presumably other things, I think it's quite reasonable, even with battling the Americans, Japan would have very much considered going after the Soviets, because there was a good way to get these guys into the Axis. I just want to see the border better. And like having people in the Axis. I know they're Japan's puppets, and Japan is still fighting in here. Even though they were still fighting in here, and even though they were fighting at different times desperately against the Americans, it really wasn't necessarily for the Pacific War, about manpower and rifles and bullets. It was as much about naval and air power. And had they pushed against Russia, it would have diverted some stuff, obviously. But it could have really critically helped the Germans win if they had taken, again, Leningrad, Stalingrad, Moscow. If not, you're just adding another distraction to your already desperate war. So it would be better to have Germany, put a nail in the coffin, help putting a nail in the coffin against the Soviets, and then having Germany, being able to focus more on things that are going to help you with the Americans, particularly. Okay, come on. You're attacking there. You don't have any orders, so you're going to attack there. And Portugal wants something. Metal, sure. Finland. You give them money for rare materials, sure. That's a no-brainer for me. Now that we are doing this. Hungary, you get them metal for some money, great. Okay, you support an attack. I guess you can support an attack, though you're not very attack supporty type. But you keep moving that way. And all keeps coming that way. Good. Ah, I also thought this was neat when I found this. Boot polish. Our troops need boots polished. Our troops need boots polished. Their boots polished. I should rewrite that. Troops march over many countries. Will protect their feet. Marching advance. Just thought that was interesting. Infantry unit command and control gain a little bit. Sending out boot polish to everybody. Sort of some of the mundane things that was still rather important. You need boot polish to keep boots, leather boots, particularly watertight or somewhat watertight, water resistant. Maybe would be the better term. Otherwise, leather will deteriorate badly. Looks like you guys can maybe hold against a lot of stuff, hopefully. We got that river. You can come up to reinforce that defense while these guys are still attacking there. Okay, light damage, good. Hitler dances a jig. At 3:42 p.m., 12 minutes after the French arrive, we see Hitler stand up, salute stiffly, and then stride out of the dining room, followed by Goering, Brauhitsch, Raeder, Hess, Ribbentrop. Guess maybe this is something that should have fired earlier, I don't know. Hess, Ribbentrop. The French, like figures of stone, remain at the green top table. General Keitel remains with them. He starts to read them the detailed conditions of the armistice. Hitler and his aides stride down the avenue towards the Alsace-Lorraine monument, where their cars are waiting. As they pass a guard of honor, the German band strikes up the two national anthems, Deutschland über alles and the Horst Wessel song, a whole ceremony in which Hitler has reached a new pinnacle in his meteoric career. Germany avenged the 1918 defeat is over in a quarter of an hour. Okay, one little thing about this Hitler dances a jig thing. My understanding is it's false. It's phony. I don't even know what that says up there. I've seen the film footage, but what they sort of do is somebody plays basically Photoshop tricks. Is they get him sort of raising his foot up and putting it down a little bit, but they sort of kind of splice and keep the other guys from moving so much in it, and sort of do a repeat on this a little bit to make it seem like he's dancing a jig. At least that's my understanding, that it was a British propaganda thing. So, don't know why this didn't fire earlier. Oh, well, no, it says German Reich gets down. Oh, well, until that. Maybe it's just something that, again, some of this stuff is because, well, maybe it's delayed because of other things going on, but partially this is just some of my play for, you know, a few months and then stop and then, you know, start again kind of thing. Gain manpower, great. We love that. Okay. I love this photo when I found it. Theo Osterkamp, that's this guy, who was a World War I naval pilot, Marine Flieger Corps. Obviously can be a pilot, but too old to be a fighter pilot in World War II. But there's the back of Osterkamp. That's Werner Mulders, and that's Dolfo Galland. And they're at his birthday party. And they're talking airplane flying and, you know, doing the hands thing and what they were doing. I just thought that was really cool, and sort of the nifty thing about now, yeah, April. Okay, so this is good, a fun day. I just thought that was cool. Axis convoys for North Africa. Okay, so we have, again, I don't need to read all that over again. Different photo, I think. Cool. Again, I might want to have a... Ooh, we're even now got a lot of stuff I haven't deployed. Okay, back to building these guys again. Okay, we've got transports coming, flying boats coming, carrier coming, air. Let's do one more of carrier air group, just one. More fighters, good. That'll help there. What we need now are more ground units. Now that we have that, Let's go assault gun. Let's go with some artillery. Motorized, not armored, but motorized engineers. Oh, that's just too big. German trucks. Yeah, better. Okay. I guess motorcycle reconnaissance. Probably good enough for this. We'll need an HQ. That looks good. 30 ICs. Okay, yeah, I think we'll do that. And we'll do 2 of those. And you know how much I love light infantry. Also light infantry. Let's do just regular artillery with these guys. Recon cavalry. Horse transport. That's it. These guys don't have any engineers, so they're going to be lousy going across rivers. Lousy fighting against the Soviets. I'm sort of thinking sending them in the colonial areas. India, which has a bunch of rivers. Africa, which has some rivers, but just sort of some cheap units there. Yeah, that looks good. That looks good. Brazil. We would give them money for rare materials. No, thank you. And no, thank you. Not across the Atlantic, not yet. Okay, well. Well, guys, we're not going to wait on Rome or on Rommel or the Italians anymore. We've got Rommel coming up here. These guys are doing better. And we've got these guys coming. We also have these guys coming. Oh, yeah, you're still moving forward. Yeah, we'll get up to here. These guys would probably help with these forts. And they're probably too much for at least the Italians thinking they're too much. Hope we won here. And they're moving there. Good. Are you guys getting supplies now? Yeah, they come there, so the Italians must be sending them supplies. At least I hope the hell they are. Yes, they've got some organization back. But not that much supplies. Mall ports. Okay, yeah, you're not going to budget those 2 divisions. And you guys here, you attack El Alamein. And you can heal up just a little bit, maybe. You guys, I think, have been healing up. Yep. You guys can also attack El Alamein. Mentioning that, I gotta do better with these air power units. Air units. guy's going to attack into there. Or heal, or however you pronounce it. Oh, too far for you? Okay, well then you come down here. Establishment of the Pan American Security Zone. During the early years of World War II, before the United States became a full belligerent, President Roosevelt declared a region of the Atlantic adjacent to the Americas as the Pan American Security Zone. Within this zone, the United States naval ships escorted convoys bound for Europe. In practice, this greatly aided the United Kingdom, in which was largely dependent upon Atlantic convoys. The zone was one of a number of actions taken by the United States that ran counter to its formal state of neutrality. It was set up in October 1939 at the behest of the Director of Panama, or behest by the Declaration of Panama signed by the nations of North and South America, within the zone, which extended between 300 and 1,000 nautical miles offshore. The signatories would not tolerate belligerent acts, despite the formal complaints in December 1939 to Britain over the actions against the Admiral Graf Spee and the River Platte. The United States implementation of the security zone was clearly to Britain's advantage. From early 1941, the United States naval convoy escorts eased British and Canadian difficulties by providing escorts. The United States naval ships and aircraft were ordered to broadcast in clear any U-boat sightings, thus alerting British listeners. The Kriegsmarine resented this cheating, but they were instructed to avoid hostile acts against U.S. ships so as not to give cause for a declaration of war. On April 18th, 1941, Roosevelt extended the Pan American Security Zone to 2,300 nautical miles east of New York, just 50 nautical miles short of Iceland, a major convoy staging. Okay, that second one may be about pushing it a bit far out into the ocean, both literally and figuratively. Again, I say if Germany's going to do unrestricted operations, and not just say sitting outside of British ports waiting for the American or other neutrals to actually start entering the ports, but simply coming out here and shooting at neutral vessels that weren't cleared. Again, as I said before, I know that some of these nations did have vessels, especially like coming out of Sweden and out of Switzerland. Yes, Switzerland had vessels at least chartered to it that allowed trade through like Italy that were specifically licensed or given permission by the Germans to move. Outside of these vessels, if they're just going to sink ships in the war zone, and started declaring a peace zone. You know, obviously we're to shoot at ships that are shooting at ships, but it's sort of the peace zone. You get American vessels that are there. They get to take their chances. Well, you get to have a similar thing going out here. That if you come too close to the Americas, you'll get shot at. Again, maybe 2,300 miles is a bit much, but now that hurts our convoy rating efficiency. Fine. Okay, well, we've taken Cairo. That is very good. This is being heavy. Oh, there's a lot of divisions there. And we really hit the jackpot of units. And no Italians are coming in to support this. Lovely. Well, I think it's, let's see what's there. Okay, a carrier, but that's just a carrier. No, just a carrier, but we've got a lot of naval air, so I'm not that worried. We'll come out here and get some more forces. I'll let, yeah, okay. One be a creep. Air landing infantry, great, 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 great. I think that's, yeah, one and done. Anything else here? Nope. Armored HQs, yes, good. Yeah, but I'm gonna switch it to something else. Okay, we're doing those, doing all the, we're gonna do long range aircraft production as well. That's very much we want to do that. And let's do radar improvements for capital ships as well. Gun turrets. Well, you know, light forces we have, damage control, but small warship radar, that's what I'm looking for. Prove that. Major defeat. Where do we have a major defeat? Okay, here. So they're getting all to retreat. They're being able to retreat. Now they're not going to win here. Oh, we could have gotten some of those guys into the fight. You guys come down this way. Sort of see about flanking once we get done with that. And you're going to hold Cairo, I think. They're battering you, but I think you're going to hold. Oh, oh, damn. Okay. Oh, well, I should have made, that was the anti-tank guns here. I'm gonna put them in. Oh, they went to here, I think. I think this is ultimately where they're. Yes. Well, send them back. And but detach them because we may attach something more important to it. Like the artillery. Well, you know, should have done it before, of course. But let's find a good. Oh, come on, pause. Oh no, I already did pause because of that. No. Cancel this. Okay. Armor unit command and control. Good. 41. That's nice. No, let's look here a little more carefully. Yeah. Basic education, we'll do that. Get that pushed forward now. And nav pilot training. Where are you going to let that go? And gun ability, 400 planes, which we're definitely stopping for the moment. Gun ability, 400 planes. Well, we want to do this, get better results on that. Flak Tower 1 Gustav, Flak towers operated in pairs. Gun towers known as Gefechtsturms. And command towers known as Leitsturms. I don't think I'm going to read all of this. So we can protect our cities. So gain pillbox because they were used as defensive towers during the invasion, and radar level 1. Okay, now I like this better, revolverheld, because there's a predefined amount of cost here, and not just a percentage. Because percentage of what? I mean, what did I choose or not choose affects other things. Now, obviously, we're paying with flak production as well, probably, but still, I like this a little better, so we will go for this. It's a specific cost, not a percentage cost, so I liked it better. Oh, what are we too far? Engineering unit training. Okay, that's over here. Yeah, that's too far ahead now. Good, we got that. Yeah, that'll be good. We'll do that. Punish the enemy. I'm sorry to say no. Oh, we were picking this guy. Command element, which will disrupt this organization. But I'm thinking maybe a better fortification assault kind of guy. For this, yeah, there we go. We'll do him. And Deutsches Afrika Corps. So if we still need to get through either one of these when he gets there, hopefully he'll be better organized by the time he gets there. Still need the 3rd Panzer Division. And you're here now. Attack. Normal needs a promotion. He should be up higher rank. Make sure that he's in charge overall. Oh, the Turks. The money for rare materials. Okay. Well, you guys are back. Made it unscathed. Good. And for now, we're keeping the queue there. Okay. You see, this is a very armored division heavy. Oh, we got a bunch more up here. Divisions. I think we'll just move these guys in. Yeah, rebase. Make a dash there. You got fast ships. Ah, this A1. Now, let's go with broadcasting. Help leadership, plus we'll get another thing. Okay, let's see if we can do small fleet, but no need. Because I'm hoping that will mean we will lose. Maybe should have looked at it before, but yeah, we've lost the medium fleet, or have we? I don't see it there, so we've lost that, so that should improve Small percentage improvement. Well, you stay where you're at. Okay, now you guys. You attack. No. Council, okay. You attack there. Hold the flanks down. Okay, you start just driving regular. And they're taking a pounding. Seems like they're holding on. Okay. Disconnect, connect. Good. And they're connected over there. Okay, so you come there. We've got a lot of fighting to do here, but these guys are looking like they're running south, so let's head that way. Operation, oh, light damage, okay. And, okay, the Lair Brigade 900 moat. Don't know why we don't have an image for this. No revolverheld sent me a bunch more images, but I don't know if this is revolverhelds or not. Because it has the ZDD thing, so I think it's probably not. Lair Brigade 900 motorization, motorized demonstration brigade, was formed mid-1941 by the German army from school units in preparation for Barbarossa. As such, it was considered an elite, as many of its personnel were instructors in tactics from various branch schools. Okay, good. We like that. Food rationing. Mein Führer, we may wish to consider implementing a civilian food rationing program, which they did, and I think well before. Well, I don't know the details, but I think they had rationed a few key things. But prior to this, they tried to keep rationing down to a minimum, where Britain really was pushing it on. Later on, well, I'm trying to think. Do know that in some of the occupied areas they had already started rationing. So I don't know. They were doing stuff. We need all the food supplies we can muster in order to keep our boys fighting. Historically, the UK. In early January 40, bacon, butter, sugar were rationed. This was followed by meat, tea, jam, biscuits, breakfast cereals, cheese, eggs, lard, milk, canned fruits. Strict rationing invariably created a black market, which was illegal, hence black market. And buyers could be tricked with cheaper substitutes such as horse meat instead of beef. Now, Britain never rationed beer. That was one thing they didn't ration. I think they did ration whiskey. Was it bread that they didn't ration also, or something like that? I don't know. You get throughout all this. Yes, let's ensure our troops are fed first. Okay, supplies, discontent, less consumer goods. Now, we have no need for any consumer goods, I don't believe, currently, so that is not a consideration for us. We really don't need this. Well, we're getting sort of low. I'm gonna shift even more to making supplies, and that. But I don't want to gain the descent. Don't need that. So, choose one of descent, which we don't really already have. I'm going to increase this even more, because I think we're through various things. We've been hit hard by that. Okay, so, and we are now getting down to maybe, let's move this all the way to the top. And, got 2 Panzer Grenadier divisions that are pretty good. Some light divisions that are pretty weak. So let's, oh damn. Well, I guess we've just had a crash without saving it. Damn. Well, I guess this ends the episode. Okay. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking the videos. Do appreciate that. Don't know what caused it other than, I don't know. Been having a few more, but still don't know what's going on. And I've been tweaking things, which can definitely help things get a little worse. So don't know. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking the videos. Please post questions, comments, suggestions, ideas, corrections. Love hearing from you. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron.